I'd like to welcome everyone to the Palm Beach delegation meeting and public hearing, as well as a local bill presentation. And before we get started, I would just like to announce that we are going to be TPing the local bill, temporarily postponing the local bill until our next delegation meeting. So if we have anyone who has traveled here to the beautiful city of Green Acres to speak on that bill, please be advised that the bill will not be heard today. It will be heard at our next delegation meeting, which will be November 30th. So you're welcome to leave, or we would love to have you stay and be part of our delegation meeting. And I'd like to welcome everyone to the beautiful city of Green Acres and thank them for hosting us today. And with that, I would ask that we stand, please, for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and I'd like to recognize Mayor Flores to come forward, and is he here? There he is. There he is. Right on cue. Couldn't be better timing. Mayor Flores, you are recognized.
All right. First of all, I want to thank the delegation for being here a second time. I had the pleasure of introducing myself this morning and welcoming the Palm Beach County delegation. Also the county commissioners, I believe they're going to be here today. But no, basically what I want to say is welcome to Green Acres. We are the workforce housing of Palm Beach County. I just wanted to give you a little bit of an example of what we were able to accomplish last year under Senator Powell's leadership and Representative Silvers, who helped us get some money into the city. And for those of you that saw some construction as you came in, that's the state dollars at work. We had a project which was septic to sewer, and we already broke ground. We're working. This is a project that has been a priority of mine since I came into office. We have right here, this is called the original section of Green Acres, and we have over 400 homes that are still in septic. So our goal is to transition them into sewer. Obviously, clean water is not only important to Green Acres, but to the county as a whole, and I know the state of Florida is making that a priority as well. And additionally, across the way here in this area, we are going to be building an early children learning center, state of the art, and it's something that we're extremely proud of. And under your leadership, and I know Representative Casello also helped get this project off the ground, but we received some funding, and that's what some of the great stories that come from Tallahassee, the work that you do. I simply want to say thank you on behalf of the city of Green Acres. We're very, very thankful. We're going back up there this year to ask for a little bit more to help with the septic to sewer. But welcome to Green Acres. This is the workforce housing. These are the folks that make it happen in Green Acres and in the county, and I'm extremely proud of who we are and the people that we represent. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you very much, and we are so delighted to be here. And as this is an official meeting, not a workshop, but an official meeting of the delegation, I would ask that we go ahead and have a formal roll call. Vicki, you're recognized for a roll call.
Senator Berman.
Here.
Senator Harrell.
Here.
Senator Polsky.
Here.
Senator Powell.
Here.
Representative Caruso.
Here.
Representative Casello.
Here.
Representative Edmonds. Representative Gossett-Seidman.
Here.
Representative Roth.
Here.
Representative Silvers. Representative Skidmore.
Here.
Representative Snyder.
Here.
Representative Waldron.
Here.
Madam Chair, we have a quorum.
Thank you very much. And with that, I'd like to do a very special presentation and say thank you to Senator Tina Polsky, who was our chair last year. And she's even here. How convenient. But as our chair last year, I was delighted to be her vice chair, and her leadership has been very much appreciated here on the delegation. She's been a member of this delegation for 6 years, and we so appreciate all her hard work on behalf of the constituents of Palm Beach County. And with that, this is a special plaque presented to Senator Tina Polsky, Chair, Palm Beach County Legislative Delegation, 2022 through 23, with appreciation for your dedication and leadership as Chair of the Palm Beach County Legislative Delegation. And we thank you for all you do.
Does this work?
Let's get it, let me,
All right.
somebody get a
If you need a
picture.
backup.
Oh, yeah.
You gotcha.
Sure.
Senator
What's
Polsky,
that?
my photographer's going to come around and take your
Oh,
picture.
okay, sure.
Oh, wonderful photographer here.
Oh, I didn't know where
There
you
we
were
go.
running to.
Put the flag for Florida behind him.
Great.
Wait,
Oh, that's very close.
There we go.
Thank you.
it's all right.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. I know what a hard job it is, so thank you for all your hard work. But I also would like to, do we have any elected officials here that are not going to be actually presenting to us? We have our constitutional officers presenting today. If there's any electeds, no, I don't see any. And as I said, the local bill will be
We
TP'd.
have one.
Oh, is Ann,
Yep.
is she not presenting?
Yes.
Oh, she
She's
presented?
presenting. If
Okay.
you're not
Sorry.
presenting, if you're not presenting. Yes, and I'd like to remind everyone, if you would like to comment, we will have a public comment period following everyone who's already previously signed up. We will hear from our local officials and constitutional officers first, then we will go to all those who have already made presentations to us, signed up, given us information. If you are not among that group, and we are going to be, it's going to be a very long meeting, we have 36 people presenting. So we will, please fill out one of the comment cards and get it to Vicki.
The comment cards are outside on the table.
And they're outside on the table. Get a comment card, fill it out, please, and give it to Vicki so that we can hear you at the end of the meeting, as long as we have time to hear you, given the time constraints that we do have. But we do want to thank you for being here. And, okay. What we'd like to do is we're here from, and remind you that our final meeting will be in Belle Glade, 1 to 3, at the Belle Glade Library and Civic Center. At that point, we will be hearing the local bill. So as I said, it's TP'd, we'll see that. And those of you who are interested can always watch us on TV anytime. We are live streaming it right now on Facebook. So if you want to watch yourself when you speak, you can come back and watch it. And then also it'll be shown on Palm Beach County TV, and that is channel 20, AT&T channel 99, and streamed 24 hours a day on the county website. So you're most welcome to check in and see what all happened. And with that, we're going to go ahead, and we have no other electeds here other than those presenting. So we're going to start with our constitutional officers, and we will start with Wendy Satori Link, Palm Beach County Supervisor of Elections. And that will be followed by Dr. Gunta from the Department of Health.
Where's?
Wendy.
One second, I don't see Supervisor Link.
Supervisor is not here. We will come back to her should she arrive. And Dr. Gunta, if you would like to go to the podium so that we can all hear you and that you are officially on TV.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for having me here. And my name is Dr. Gunta. I am the new Palm Beach County Health Director, taking over after Dr. Alina Alonso retired in April of 2023. And I am here just to tell you all that, what I see as my vision for Palm Beach County Health Department, which is definitely our vision is to be the healthiest state in the nation. And so I hope to accomplish that in many different ways. I mean, the health department oversees many, many different services, and it is definitely a huge responsibility, but there are lots of opportunities to improve and to achieve that goal of being the healthiest state in the nation. So one of the things that I suppose I'm going to speak about today is the fact that we had asked, we do have 2 state-owned buildings in Palm Beach County, and most of our counties in the state of Florida, there are 67 counties, so there's very few state-owned buildings. Most of the buildings are county-owned, and then the state actually holds their services in those buildings. But we do have 2 state-owned buildings, and we have requested legislative budget requests for capital improvements on those buildings, because one of those buildings houses many of our essential services that it's where it's located. So it's located on the 45th Street, and it does hold several essential services to our communities. It is strategically placed in that location. We do have 6 other county-owned buildings that serve the community, but this one in particular is state-owned. And so it was built in 2009, so it's about 14 years old, and I'm sorry, let me take that back. The 45th Street building was built in 2002. The 800 Clematis building that also requires capital improvement funding was built in 2009. So I am speaking about the 2002 built building on the 45th Street. It has a state-owned lab, as well as we provide STD services, family planning, HIV. We also have healthcare district in that same building as well. So many very important, it's one of our busiest clinics. And so the reason I'm speaking about it is because we have submitted a legislative budget request for capital improvements on that building, because since it was built in 2002, there have not been any funds allocated for major improvements. So the improvement that is at hand right now is a roof replacement, and I've held meetings with my team to come up with something called a COOP plan in the event that Palm Beach County does experience a major hurricane. We are at risk of that roof collapsing, and so. That is something that we have to prepare for. What happens if the roof collapses, and where do our services go? Where does our lab go? So that is one of my points that I wanted to just be thankful for, because I know the county supported us in putting forth that legislative budget request. So I thank you.
Any questions, members? Thank you. Appreciate that. And
Sure.
I assume Representative Caruso, you have a question.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Doctor, I appreciate you bringing that forward. I drive by that 45th Street building every day, and I know, and my wife, I think she heard the last meeting of the healthcare district was there, I believe. And not only is the roof really bad, members, and leaks very, very badly, it's now creating a mold issue too. So if we could all get behind that appropriation, that allocation of funds from the state, it would be a great asset to our county. Thank you.
Thank
Yes.
you so much.
Thank you. And I want to remind anyone in the audience asking for budget requests, I know the House does have a deadline, I believe, of November 14th for filing budget requests. The Senate does not have a similar deadline, but you must have them into the House by December, into whoever the member is that's going to do it, in order to file it by November 14th. So, thank you.
Thank
I
you
have a
so
question,
much.
Madam Chair.
Further questions or comments? Representative Skidmore.
Thank you. Hi, Dr. Gunta. What is the dollar amount for the roof replacement? And I know you
kind of ran out of time there. Could you talk about the second building? Is there a capital improvement on the
absolutely.
2009 building as well? Just briefly.
Thank you so much for that question. So the estimated number that I received from my CFO was $3.2 million for just the roof at 45th Street. And then the second building, which houses myself, so I put myself last, you know, if I'm out of an office, that's okay, but we can't be out of a building where we provide services. So the second building also houses all of our administrative staff, which is on 800 Clematis, and that one is the one that was built in 2009. And that one requires sealant and painting, without which it seems that there's going to be catastrophic damage to the building if those are not improved, if those are not, renovated. And the dollar amount for those renovations comes out to $1.8 million.
Follow up, Madam Chair?
Follow up.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Gupta. I appreciate that. If it's a state-owned building, why is the county administrator having to go after the money? Why isn't the Florida Department of Health managing its own building?
That is a great question. Thank you for that question. And I do want to remind everybody that I've been in this role for 6 months only. And so that was one of my first questions to my, the members in Tallahassee at Department of Health. And the reasoning that I can, share with you all today is because even though those two buildings are state-owned buildings by Department of Health, we do serve the members out of those buildings. We serve the residents of Palm Beach County, so which is why we are asking the county for that help. But with that being said, I mean, myself coming into this role, I realized, if you build something and you own something, then you have to, from day one, plan for these type of capital improvements. And, so in my budget moving forward, I am looking to set aside money for these types of projects, so which has not been done previously. So, I mean, that will take some time to build up that amount of cash and that amount of money to allow for further capital improvements in those two buildings. But for now, we are reaching out to you all for that help. But in the future, I hope to be self-sufficient as much as I can.
Comment, Madam Chair?
A comment?
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your foresight to think that as a quote-unquote tenant, you should have to manage the building that is owned by somebody else. And I do think that the state has a responsibility and an obligation to maintain its own buildings. And as a delegation in Palm Beach County, where members and citizens of Palm Beach County are being served in moldy buildings, we have an obligation to take this information to the state and the Surgeon General and demand that they manage their own buildings. We don't require tenants to maintain the houses that they rent, nor should the people who are serving the people of Palm Beach County have to maintain a building that is not owned by them.
Thank you.
Thank
No
you very
further
much.
questions. Thank you. We have not, I was going to dismiss the introduction of our individual members, but since we do have a large audience of so many people who are not here this morning, I'm going to go ahead and ask everybody to go around and briefly introduce themselves so that our audience does know who is here. And Senator Berman, we'll start with you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm Senator Lori Berman. I represent District 26, which is Boca Raton, Delray, Boynton Beach. Then it comes west, Wellington, and goes over to the Glades, and I have South Bay and Belle Glade. I am very happy to have with me my staff here today. I have Sophia Cabage, Courtney Jones, excuse me, she only started last week, and Brenda Bryant. So happy to have everybody with me, happy to be here and see such a good turnout today.
Hello, I am Senator Tina Polsky. I represent District 30. I have Palm Beach and Broward counties. In Palm Beach, I have Boca Raton. I'm very happy to have Shana Cohen and Cariana Ingram here with me today, my legislative aides who go to Tallahassee, and Robert Mariaja is our district aide who mans it while we're gone.
Good afternoon. I'm Kelly Skidmore, State Representative for District 92, which is unincorporated parts of Palm Beach County in Boca Raton, Delray Beach, and Boynton Beach. With me today is Dr. Gwen Gonzalez, my legislative aide, and at home, because she ate too much candy, is Amy Chamberlain.
I'm Catherine Waldron. I'm representative for District 93, which is Wellington, parts of Green Acres, and Western Lake Worth. And I'm happy to show off my district aide, Roselle Gibbs, who is here. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Gervonta Edmonds, and I'm proud to serve as the state representative for District 88. District 88 covers Riviera Beach, West Palm Beach, Mangonia Park, Lake Park, and Royal Palm Beach. Here also is my district assistant, Latanya Cruz, if you could just wave. And thank you for having me.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am Bobby Powell Jr., State Senator representing Senate District 24 here in Palm Beach County, starting at PGA Boulevard in Palm Beach Gardens, going south all the way down to Hyperlux. So I represent most of the coastal areas in that area, all of the coastal areas in that area. And I have represented and served Palm Beach County for well over a decade. Here with me today, my staff. Chief of Staff, Ms. Diane Andre Esquire, please stand and be recognized. And my other legislative aide, who is our Communications Director, Mr. Malcolm Summons. Team GTJD, get the job done. I'm excited to have them here. Remember this, for Senate District 24, a life of service is indeed a life that counts. I'm glad to see some of my good friends in the audience. Good to see you, Dr. Drayton and Mr. Whiteley, Reverend Whiteley, and many of you. And we are excited to have a great delegation hearing this afternoon. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, and I'm State Senator Gail Harrell. I represent District 31, which is the northern part of Palm Beach County, down to Palm Beach Lakes Boulevard. PGA Boulevard, out to Military Trail, then south to North Lake, then west again, out to the Turnpike, and then south again to Southern Boulevard, all the way out to the lake, including Pahokee and the beautiful area on the lake, as well as Martin County and the southern part of St. Lucie County. And it's a delight to serve as your chair. And I wanted to introduce my aide on policy issues is Karen Sweeney over here, and Carrie Lira on budget requests and fiscal issues right there next to her. And Vice Chair?
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Joe Casello, State Representative for District 90. Aliens. District 90, the great cities of Boynton Beach and Delray Beach. Today with me, I have my legislative aide, Troy Grass, and my district aide, Brian Bees. Good to be here.
Thank you. Representative Caruso?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm State Representative Mike Caruso from representing House District 87. House District 87 runs from Manalapan, Hypoluxo along the east coast, the ocean front, all the way to Jupiter. And then as you move north, it moves out to the Turnpike. I am excited to see so many people come out here today. I've got my legislative aide, Walter Boykus, here, and my district aide, Eva Sazanova. If you're in the room, stand up. Otherwise, there we go. Eva's here. And Walter's out trying to get a project done for me. So that's good. You know, I try to be as available as I can. I see so many friends in the audience here. But if you don't know me, if you'd like to contact me, my cell phone number is 561-702-9319. Call anytime. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Peggy Gossett-Seidman, State Representative for Boca Raton, Highland Beach, and Southwest Palm Beach County. Also in Boca Raton, home of the Noble FAU, I see Dr. Volnick is here today. Wanted to thank my aide, Ben Palmer, the new aide who is home also having eaten way too much candy. My district aide who is holding down the fort, and therefore my volunteer son, Austin Seidman, is here filling in as usual in these kinds of days. And I'm very happy to see friends of mine and our wonderful constitutional and elected officers here in the community, and thank everyone for attending.
Good afternoon. I'm Representative Rick Roth, otherwise known as R5. I'm District 94, the largest district in Palm Beach County. starts at the Martin County line, all the way to Southern Boulevard, west of the Turnpike, goes all the way out to Arden, and then continues out into the Glades, where my hometown of Belglade is. I have in the room, I hope, Will Ponsold is still here. If you're here, we'll stand up. Will, he's my district aide. I also have Terry Mitzi, who is a district aide out in the Glades. Glad to see y'all here today. We're going to have fun.
Good afternoon. My name's John Snyder. It's an honor to serve District 86, which consists of Martin County and the northern portion of Palm Beach, mainly Jupiter, Tequesta, and Jupiter Inlet Colony. My legislative aide, Sarah Craven, is here, and we also have a satellite office in Jupiter Town Hall, so we'd love to have you come by and meet with us personally. Look forward to hearing from you today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And with that, we'll move on to our business. We do have, I understand that our Supervisor of Elections has arrived. Wendy Sataro Link is here. There you are. Come forward. And I'd like to remind everybody, we are trying to keep on a time schedule, and we've got a little clock sitting here. We don't want to rush our constitutional officers. We do want to respect you very much so for your positions and what you do for us, but if you could keep within the time frame, it would be helpful. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for allowing us to be here and to speak. I appreciate it. We at the elections office and representing not just our office, but of course we have 67 supervisors of elections who work very closely together and are trying to make life simple as we're heading into the 2024 election. We're focused, of course, on obviously the most important thing, security, transparency, and making sure that we have a flawless election here in Florida so that we can keep up the good reputation that we've earned. In Palm Beach County, we've tried to do our part with that. We are also an award-winning office past year from the EAC, the Election Assistance Commission, which is part of the U.S. Congress. We won 3 awards, which is actually the most awards of any county in the whole country. So we've done, we're working very hard to do things. As we look into this next legislative session, we are really focused on making sure that we can implement the laws that that the state is still trying to catch up on. And part of that is because parts of SB 90, 524, 7050, which have been over the last 3 years, parts of those are still tied up in litigation. And for various reasons, the state hasn't been able to do its rulemaking for some of those. So some of the supervisors, we're still waiting to have full rule implementation for us to completely follow those statutes that you have put in place. And so we're asking as we go into 2024 that you consider that as you consider what new changes that you might make, because by the time your session would end and we would need to implement it, of course, we're going to be very tight time frames. So we just ask that, if we want to make ourselves available as you're thinking about changes that you would like to see from a policy perspective. If I would like to make myself as available to you as possible to answer any questions that you might have. But our biggest focus coming in is the protection of our poll workers and our staff. We would like to make sure that the poll workers that there was something in this House bill, but not in the Senate bill last year, that protected them from threats and intimidation and harassment. It is getting harder and harder to get workers, both in our office as well as poll workers, and having that is going to go a long way. We're not asking for special treatment. We're saying they can't, if somebody harasses them, threatens them, intimidates them, or, of course, assaults them, that would be against the law, and that would help a lot. We also are looking if there's exemptions from their public records. We get public records requests for every piece of information, and then what happens is certain groups will use that information to target the poll workers and say, I know you're going to be working at X location, and I know where you live, and they send it to their home address, and they threaten them. We're not going to stand for the election to be stolen, or we're not going to stand for this. Okay, obviously, nobody wants anything to go wrong, but that's intimidating to people. So we just ask for you to please consider the protection of those workers, and I certainly don't want to go over my time, so if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you very much. And is there someone filing those bills? Public Records has to be a standalone bill.
Yes, I know it's been part of of our priorities list from this, and they're working with David Ramba, who I believe is getting folks to do that.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, members? You're recognized, Representative Waldron.
Thanks. Just real quick, how is the push for vote by mail going? If you can give us an update on that, the numbers.
In our county, we currently have about 122,000 people who have requested vote-by-mail ballots. As you know, they all expired at the end of 2022. We had about close to 500,000 at that time. So we don't know, we don't anticipate that we'll have that many necessarily, because some people, because COVID has passed, don't feel the need to vote by mail. But our big concern is we're trying to make sure that everybody who chooses to vote by mail understands that they have to make that request again.
Thank you.
Representative Costello.
Thank you, thank you, Chair. I'd just like to say, Ms. Links, that since you've taken over that office, I know where you were put in that position, it was pretty contentious at the time, and how you've progressed that department to where it is today, to where we're winning awards, even in spite of us up there in Tallahassee keep moving the goalpost on you. So
We're up to
hopefully.
the challenge.
And you have been up to the challenge, and I just want to commend you on that. You've been done a great job. I've seen you at many functions, speaking on it, giving that information out to the public, making it a lot easier, and I commend you for that.
Thank you very much.
Senator Powell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Supervisor Link, thank you so much. In the past, you have been able to come to certain events to help get people registered to vote, or either get them registered to vote by mail. We've made it more difficult in Tallahassee to get third-party organizations to register people. Are you still available, in your office still available to come to events to
yes.
get people registered?
Yeah, we've been out,
and
I
vote by
think,
mail?
but we've had over 1,800 hours this year just getting out to the public, speaking and doing that. We do ask groups that had been served by third-party voter groups that maybe aren't being served by them, just to let us know. And we've made it a priority to get out to any place who's asked us to come to do registration or vote by mail updates. We're there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Gossett-Seibman.
Thank you, Senator. I wanted to express my thanks to Wendy Link and also Ann Gannon. They were of great service to me throughout the summer in filing my motor voter bill, which showed that we had an IT glitch statewide that possibly changed voters' registrations from Republican or Democrat to NPA. I filed this bill, and they were of great asset to me in that regard, and we'll continue to work on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Caruso.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Supervisor, you mentioned that to implement the new legislation that's been passed, you're waiting for rules to for them to come up with the.
Right. Yeah, state has to go through rulemaking procedures.
Exactly. What's your deadline what's the drop dead date in order to get this done?
Well, there's not really, it really depends on what it is, right? So, because certain things we can implement very quickly. Other things, if it involved, for example, changing our envelopes, which we've had to do a number of times, for vote by mail. If it involves that, we need a little bit more lead time because we've got to get the paper, get them printed and all that in time for us to get the, UOCAVA ballots out 45 days before the election. So we're going to be we'll be inserting our UOCAVA ballots by mid-January. Okay. So.
Mid-January.
That's when we start to insert those ballots. So, again, if it's something that involved envelopes, that would be earlier.
Okay.
It really would depend on what the change is.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate all your hard work.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Dorothy Jacks, Palm Beach County Property Appraiser.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me. I just have a few brief comments this afternoon. First, just quickly, I wanted to let you know that when you passed the increase to the widower benefit, exemption benefit, which you increased from $500 to $5,000, we've seen a significant increase in filing for that benefit. So I wanted to make sure you knew that what you're doing is actually having an impact, and taxpayers are taking advantage of these benefits more and more as as they see them. And I think also just your work on them brings them plenty of attention. In 2024, the property appraisers have a number of items that we're looking to work on. One is to allow the continuation of a paraplegic civilian is qualified for a full and total exemption. However, should they pass away, currently that exemption does not pass to a surviving spouse, which of course can be very tough on the surviving spouse. So as we have with veterans benefits, we are going to ask if that might be considered a pass-through from the full exemption to the surviving spouse. Of course, it would go away if that surviving spouse marries or passes away themselves, certainly, but it would be nice if, while for the duration of their life, they continue to have the benefit of that exemption. We've also are looking at a couple of changes to the veterans benefits. At the moment, if you are a disabled veteran, you're entitled to a $5,000 exemption. That equals about $100 in tax savings. We'd like to increase that to $10,000, so it would be about $200 in tax savings, so that will come forward. Probably our biggest bill this year is we would like to have the online realty sites include a correct tax estimator. So at the moment when someone buys a home, they often think that the seller's taxes will be their taxes, but because of caps and portability and homestead, that is usually not the case. And the seller is in for a rude awakening when they buy a property and find out the taxes could be much higher. We would like that the realty online Zillow, Realtor.com would include a link to our website or the DOR's website showing them what the taxes will probably be on that home that they're looking to buy. So that'll be coming forward. As always, I'd ask if you keep an eye out for anything that might change the valuation process for timeshare properties. This comes up almost every year, and I've had some great support in the past from you in pushing it back down. Timeshares already have a carve-out in the way they're valued, and there's often talk about a further carve-out for that. We have a couple of communities, small communities in this county that have timeshares. If their valuation process was changed significantly, it might really impact those small communities. So I just bring that up. As always, I'm available to assist you with data or statistics from our tax roll about any of our issues. If you're ever curious, I know sometimes our exemptions and process issues are complicated. Happy to talk to you. Feel free to give me a call anytime. And I hope I'll see you in January when I come to Tallahassee. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions? Questions, comments? I do have one quick question. On the website, changing to the estimated future tax value, would you, I would assume you might have two levels. One, whether it is homesteaded or non-homesteaded.
Absolutely. We would provide that as an option within the estimator.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Wanted to be sure that would be included.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from Joseph Bruzzo, former senator, who is the clerk of the court and comptroller for Palm Beach County. Welcome. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you so much, Madam Chair, and so many friends and former colleagues. It's great to be amongst you. And of course, thank you for what you do headed up to Tallahassee, especially to the families. I know your families miss you when you're gone. I will be brief considering the time clock. I cannot thank you all enough. Every single year you have been, the entire delegation, such a big champion for clerk funding. To put it in context, I know there is I think a chart in front of you. Our office is operating 24% lower than we were in 2009. And to add to that context, how that happened, in my estimation, I remember back on the floor in 2008, 2009 with Representative Skidmore and Chair Harrell, your last year in the House, you had about an $87 billion budget. You went from an $87 billion budget to $69 billion budget in a one-year drop because of the Great Recession. And to balance the budget, Democrats, Republicans working together, we had to raise court fees, and you took from the clerks, or not you, but the legislature had to take from the clerks, keep more of that money in general revenue. We just never got that back. Well, as Florida's growing, it's common sense, we're adding more judges. We need clerks to clerk those courtrooms, amongst the other 1,000 different statutory duties that we have. The other important issue for our office, and I cannot thank Senator Polsky, Representative Gossett-Seidman enough, the Epstein grand jury bill to release the records. As we like to say, Madam Chair, this bill is specifically tailored to the Jeffrey Epstein case. It is not, this is not Pandora's box where if you all, God willing, pass this, it will open up a plethora of other issues within the courts. So I please urge you to pass that bill. As you head into special session on Israel, I did want to bring to your attention a few things that we're doing at the clerk's office. Because of the legislature, we, as I operate as the comptroller, are allowed to buy Israeli bonds. The county commission sets how much of the Israeli bonds we can buy. In 2001, I went in front of them to propose the doubling of the investment in Israeli bonds, which they granted, and thank God for that. I was able to buy $40 million of Israeli bonds back in 2001. With the war that has recently come upon a new issuance we were the first in the nation to buy 25 million edition of Israeli bonds, followed by CFO Petronas, who I'm in contact with constantly. Just yesterday, we made the single largest purchase in Israeli bond history from any government entity in the United States. 135 million in Israeli bonds purchased here in Palm Beach County. So we have an entire investment of $200 million in Israeli bonds, which over a 2-year period will return $21 million to Palm Beach County taxpayers. So we are doing everything we can, and those bonds are extremely safe and one of the best investments that we can make as being the fiduciary responsible person or person in charge of our finances in Palm Beach County. So,
Any questions, members? Representative Caruso.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, we all know that this act of war by Hamas against Israel was yet another display of anti-Semitism, which is just rising throughout our county, our state, and the country. So I wanted to thank you for your investment and support of Israel.
thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Do you want to comment?
Madam Chair, the clerks will be upset with me. Senator Hudson is sponsoring the clerk funding bill this year.
Okay.
And Representative Botana. We do not have a House bill number yet, but it doesn't raise fees whatsoever.
Terrific.
Thank you.
Thank you. Further comments, questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Next we'll hear from another former state senator, Dave Ehrenberg, state attorney for the 15th Circuit. Is he here? Well, we'll pick him up when he comes. All righty, another former colleague. Oh, here he is. Talk about timing. Hey, Dave.
Fresh off the TV.
Yes.
Gracing us with his presence.
Well, hello there. Good afternoon. Thank you. I was out in the hall, standing room only. So, I'm Dave Ehrenberg, State Attorney. I appreciate your time. Good to see members of the delegation. All right. This is, although I'm not running again, and neither is my friend Carrie Howard, so there'll be major changes, but we're not leaving yet. So we got another one of these next year. So this is not my farewell, neither for Carrie. All right. We have a few bills I want to ask you for your support. There are 6 measures. I believe, Senator Berman, you are helping us with one of them.
Domestic violence.
The domestic violence, the definition of domestic violence? Great. So I'll skip over that one, but there are 5 bills, and I would love for you to consider sponsoring it. Number 1, there's a bill to amend the written threats to kill statute. So right now, if you want to be charged with a written threat to kill, you've got to post a writing or other record that may be viewed by another person that makes a type of threat to kill. But what happens is that we have encountered very concerning situations where people will identify a specific target and a date for a mass shooting, and they'll purchase weapons, body armor, they'll do the GoPro stuff, and they pretty much practice carrying it out, but because they don't have a written threat to kill, it's verbal, it's online, in spoken word, we can't charge under the statute. And because they work alone, they don't have a co-conspirator, we can't charge them with conspiracy. So we'd like to broaden the written threat to kill statute to better protect our county and our schools, because we see these threats and we are frustrated that we cannot stop these individuals from carrying out these acts in advance rather than being forced to wait and react once the act has begun. So that's number one. Number two is intercepting and oral communications. You know, under the law, it's unlawful to record another party without that person's knowledge and consent. In 2015, the statute was amended to allow child victims to lawfully intercept and record oral communications when the child reasonably believes the other party to the communication is intends to commit or has committed an unlawful sexual or physical act of violence against the child. In 2021, the act was amended further to allow a person protected under an active injunction to intercept or record communications received in violation of the injunction. Well, victims of domestic and dating violence should be given special consideration as well under the law. These acts take place usually within someone's home, and there are not witnesses, and so without witnesses or other evidence to corroborate the victim's allegations, you need something like this, a recorded phone call. So we'd like to further amend the statute to allow victims of domestic and dating violence the lawful ability to record oral communications that may contain threatening statements preceding an act of violence. So we do it in other areas. We'd like to extend it to dating and dating violence. So then there's the third one, which I mentioned, which is about the definition of domestic battery. Thank you, Senator Berman, for sponsoring that. The fourth bill would be one about AI and child sex abuse. You know, the rise of these incredibly realistic AI images has created a situation where individuals can possess child porn, but because it's AI, it's not an actual child, even though the likeness, you can't even distinguish it, they get away with it. And so we'd like to change Florida law to mirror federal law, because Florida law does not do what federal law does, to include language that would include AI depictions of sexual abuse. And then the next one is cyber harassment, sexual cyber harassment. Now, you know revenge porn, the law that you guys passed, which requires under the law that the image contains the personal identification information of the depicted person without that person's consent. Well, the problem here is that personal identification information is too narrow. It leads to extremely harmful instances of revenge porn that don't fall under the statute. So, for example, under the current requirement that each sexually explicit image contain or convey personal identification information, an email could be sent with several attachments of sexually explicit photos of a victim, but unless the photos contain the victim's face or other unique physical representation, the conduct would not fall under the statute, even if the body of the text next to the photo contains the victim's phone number, date of birth, social security number, name. It still wouldn't fall under the statute. So we think the statute should be revised to close that ridiculous loophole. And then sixth and finally, okay, if I can find, thank you. The last one is this. When we deal with competency matters, where someone is deemed mentally incompetent to stand trial,